Hello viewers, this is Zeray Press. Today we are having an exclusive interview with Abba Tuem Berhe on Tigray humanitarian crisis and the international community response to the crisis facing Tigray. I think Abba Tuem, thank you for having an English interview with Zeray Press, and it would be good if you introduce briefly to the international community about yourself.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, all who are following this Zeray media, wherever you are, I would love to say good morning and God's blessing on you all. I am Abba Tuem Berhe. Abba means father in our language. I am parish priest of Nativity of Mary Catholic Church of Mekelle. I am also board member of Interreligious Council of Tigray, and I am chairperson of Tigray Public Diplomacy. Today I am here with Zeray Media. I would say it is an appeal, a cry to all over the world for humanity has been suffering in the humanity of Tagaru. By Tagaru I mean Tigrians. Natural disaster as well as man-made disaster. In our area, we call it this is a rainy season from June to September. Some areas are getting normal rainfall. Some other spots haven't had any rain, and some areas are having over normal rain, followed by flood and disaster. Tigray had been suffering due to, we call it, genocidal war. Due to that, we have had over 2 million displaced people. We call them IDP, internally displaced people. We have also, due to the same reason, people in the Sudan between 70,000 to 100,000. There are also people from Tigray who had been disappeared. We don't know where they are. They might be in other parts of Ethiopia or in the neighboring countries. What we know is the devastating situation of our IDP as well as refugees in the Sudan. Some also coming back from the Sudan, which way I have no idea, but elderly people, mothers with children, as they come back to Tigray, they have no place to stay because Pretoria agreement hadn't been yet fully implemented. Our administrative region, which we call it Tigray region, over 40% of the land is under occupation, either under Eritrean military, for we have about 1,000 kilometers border. Others are in the south, mainly in the west and the northwest, under the occupied force. So our IDPs had been left their homes for over 5 years. This is 5th rainy season. Some are sheltering at schools, blocking the chance of children to follow their education. most of them are under tents, totally worn out tents, or at pieces. During the hot season is scorching sun or heat, and now it is just soaking with the rain. I am one of the regular visitors to these centers. It is just they are there not like human beings, even animal. It is not worthy even for animal. It's mad. They have no way to live a real human life. So in most areas there are other problems, but number one problem is our IDPs. No ration, no food, no medical treatment, no clean water, no shelter, no clothes, even no hope. So number one for IDPs and the refugees in the Sudan and wherever they are is that Pretoria Agreement must be implemented fully. For that, land integrity, Tigray administrative integrity has to be proved. The land has to be free so that the IDP and the refugee should go back to their homes. These people are not ordinary Tigrayans. They used to feed the whole Tigray and the neighboring countries as well. Because the land, very fertile land, most of them are farmers. Now they are begging for a kilo of ration. No international support. USAID has suspended. There is no road, only one outlet, and the inlet is via Afar region. Nothing else. And from there, nothing are coming, only alcohol. We don't need it. So our people are suffering in the IDP. So until they go back, they have to be fed, because only survivors will go back to their home. We are losing so many are dying in the IDPs. You might have heard what happened in the Zeray IDPs. Here in Mekelle as well, people are dying. Is it hunger or starvation? If hunger is not treated on time, it is easily become famine. Why the world failed to see the reality, to feel the suffering of humanity in their humanity? We are supposed to be fully human and fully alive, but that seems too far from our people. In some areas, as I mentioned earlier, no rain, though it is rainy season, and the people are dying of starvation, not only hunger. That has been on the news media in lowlands of Temben. There is other areas in the southern region of Tigray where the flood is totally destroyed their crops. So we are appealing to the world and to those whom it concerns to stretch your hands and reach out to these suffering people. But please, international community, besides stretching your hands, do put your pressure on those concerned bodies so that Pretoria Agreement may be fully implemented. We need our land to be free from invaders. We need our refugees and IDPs to go back to their home and to look after themselves. We are not happy being dependent on others, because we have a saying, dependent on others is similar to a shoe warning. You don't see until you feel the hole in your shoe, but that's what is happening to our people. So do please play your role and feel what our people are feeling for. We share the same humanity. Dignity is important. No dignity dying of starvation. It is almost, I would say, it is shame on humanity if it fails to see what is happening to itself. So it is a very crucial time. Our people are in desperate situation. So after 5 years, still no hope to go back home. We are losing so many youngsters trying to go somewhere out of desperation, and they are dying everywhere. You might have heard how many youngsters from Tigray drowned near Yemen recently. From time to time, drawing in Mediterranean, trying to go to Europe from Libya. So many are dying on their way, hoping to reach South Africa. Either the world has to be prepared to receive refugees, migrants from Tigray, or help Tigrayans to stay in Tigray. They are leaving Tigray out of desperation, not as choice. So this is an appeal. I was working in Tigray emergency call. We know what time we had. As I said, we are also, as an interreligious council, we feel and see the suffering of our faithful. No matter which denomination they belong. They are either Christian or Muslim. There is no other religion in Tigray. So, about half of our population is under severe problem, which could easily be helped and solved by international community. So please, as used to be, it is enough to be human beings to help human beings. So I am afraid the problem of Tigray is offside of all international medias and international communities. If you don't believe what I am saying, do come, see for yourselves. Free from any political power. We can arrange for you to come and see the reality at the ground level. So, please, I implore you, listen, see, and act. If not, Tigray is part of Ethiopia, Ethiopia is part of Africa, and Africa is part of the world. We are not somewhere on the sky, we are down in the ground. So, help us to gain peace, peace based on justice, peace based on equality, peace based on dignity. As human beings, we deserve dignity, and no dignity dying of hunger and starvation. No dignity chased away from a homeland. No dignity lacking basic human needs like shelter, food, medical treatment, education. That's what we are lacking. So again and again, I implore in the name of the Lord, look at the situation of our people. Put your pressure on the politicians this side or other side. As a religious leader, I don't belong to any political party, but I do belong to the population because my own faithful are suffering. There is no religious institutions without faithful. We don't preach to the air. We have to preach to the people, to our faithful. But starving and suffering stomach never let an ear to be attentive. So again and again, please, we know that you can do it. You used to do it. So now we are at the very crucial moment. Help the very needy.
Thank you, Abba Tuem, for explaining it well. And we need to brief the international community, I think, about the current situations as to why the Tigrayans are denied food access or humanitarian access. Maybe it is politically weaponized, but Tigray has gone through the devastating war, which claimed more than 1 million lives, and which was the war, the very war, which we call it genocidal war, that the Eritrean forces and the Ethiopian federal government jointly devastated Tigray, and we have more than 1 million displaced people living in tents, sometimes dying of hunger, or children are dying for the last 5 years, I think. But our expectations were that after the Pretoria agreement, things would be normalized. And one of the basic articles of the Pretoria agreement says that unrestricted humanitarian access would be available to Tigray, but we have never seen that happening for the last 3 years. I think the Pretoria agreement has been signed before 3 years, and nothing is just different even before or during the war. So, Abba Tuem, as I brought Abba Tuem to the Zeray press to share his immense wisdom and leadership influence in the Tigray narratives, both in Ethiopia and in Tigray, and particularly his deep engagement on the humanitarian crisis happening in Tigray, which we say forgotten by the international community. But what was your expectation after the Pretoria agreement signed? That particularly when you read the article, specifically it says that unrestricted humanitarian access to the IDP or the people living on their land. Now Tigray is facing, because of this, no access of food, no medical access, anything, and most of the international humanitarian institutions stop it because they say that food is manipulated by the political leaders. But was it appropriate to stop providing humanitarian support for the IDPs just simply because there is a manipulation? But how do you evaluate the Pretoria agreement with regard to the humanitarian crisis facing Tigray and the hunger outbreaks somewhere in some areas in Tigray be just lack of the the rainfall, I think. So both this, what do you expect in the future would be, or why is the Pretoria Agreement not implemented well, particularly in the case of IDPs?
Good. When Pretoria Agreement is signed, we all were so happy, overwhelmed, and hoped. And even we said to our IDPs and the refugees in the Sudan, time has come, only a week, only a month. We lied for 5 years. Especially over 2 years, we lied after Pretoria Agreement signed. Yes, we got something. I am not denying that Pretoria Agreement is zero. No, we are here now talking. We hadn't had that. There is no war. The bullet has been silenced, at least where we are now. I don't know how they feel, those who are still under the occupied force. Some basic needs like air transport, bank, electricity, these things have come back, though it is not as we expected to be. But the main thing is territorial integrity. Though we are part and parcel of Ethiopia, but Ethiopian constitution has demarcated all regions. It is according to Ethiopian constitution. It is not simply a feeling of Tigrayans alone. So what we are saying is administrative boundary, which is in fact implemented by Ethiopian constitution and well spelled out in Pretoria Agreement. The situation has to go back to where it was before the war started. This is very clear. That's what we are asking, and that's what the refugees and the IDPs are asking. After 2 years, nothing in fact on that area has been implemented. Integrity of the administrative region is not yet. As I said, 40% is under occupation. Because of that, the refugees and the IDPs could not go back. We don't know what is happening to them. Even some managed to penetrate and go back, but some were killed. The others again, second time, they left the area for their life. The same under occupation of Eritrean forces. Even the Eritrean forces are claiming about Nigeria and Algiers agreement. That means hijacking Praetorian agreement. It is totally two different treaties in two different times, even in different countries. This shouldn't be confused at all. So, again, now what we are focusing on humanity. Some could be need political solution. Political solution has to deal its own way. But I am talking about humanity, human solution, social solution, psychological solution. We have people in IDP who was told that their family members were killed, massacred, and still we have some who haven't got the news, the bad news, whether their children are alive or dead. We have children who was born in these IDP centers, no education, no medical treatment. Mothers are suffering with their children. If you come to Mekelle or to Shire, you will see mothers holding their babies and begging on the side of the street. They were supported by the inhabitants of wherever they are. But now those people are themselves are in need. They can't help themselves even. So the situation is acute. The situation is terrible. That's why we are crying and asking for help. We are not addicts of begging. We are forced to beg, unfortunately. That's why we are telling the truth. And as I said earlier, please do come, send somebody to see the reality for themselves. Let us go beyond politicians. Let us go a bit further and deeper than politicians' understanding. Politics cannot be food. Politics never feed you, never treat you if you need medical treatment. Politics are only look at their chair. So I'm afraid, in national level, in the regional level, enough things have not been tried. So pressure is needed. The regional politicians as well as the national government. But that is not enough. We need international awareness, international understanding. We belong to the international community. We are human beings. That's why we are appealing to international communities, including AU, which sometimes we feel probably is it existed or not, because the Pretoria Agreement was mainly brought the two sides, especially AU. But where is it now? AU being its headquarters in Addis Ababa, Tigray is not that far from Addis. Why don't you come and supervise? For what you brought the two sides together in Pretoria and in Kenya and Nairobi. The problem is, we know Pretoria Agreement had no guarantor. That is the weakest point of Pretoria Agreement. When the agreement is signed, there should have been a guarantor, internationally or nationally. That's what makes us suffering. So, do see the reality as it is down in the grassroots level. If another disaster added to what we are experiencing, then it will be a real crisis. And it will be too late to wait for more crisis. It could be handled, managed, if you do what you can do on time. And it is time now for reaching out the needy Tigrians. So that's how I see it.
Thank you, Abba Tuem. You have explained it well. But one more thing that should be clear to the international community is that there is a government, this interim government, which is established following the Pretoria Agreement in Tigray, which was meant to administer the Tigray region, and there is a federal government in Ethiopia, and there is this continental institution which we call it African Union, and the international committee, the United Nations, particularly the European Union. I think they are watching what is happening in Tigray because they know that for the last 3 years there is nothing implemented part of this Pretoria Agreement. Just the minimum standard for humanity, just let alone the political part, but the humanity part, which says unrestricted humanitarian access. is not implemented to make things worse. The largest donor, humanitarian donor, which is the United Nations, the USAID, stopped it is stretching hands to the IDP or the Tigray. Could you observe that there is this kind of humanitarian thing is weaponized for political game at the expense of humanity between the federal government and the Tigray politicians, because we don't see them calling the international community to provide humanitarian access. Even they refrain to call there is hunger or famine or there is starvation, children are dying, and children were born in the tent and now they are just raising there. So I mean, something which I wanted to make it clear is that, is there any differences of standards to call some people are just any differences between humanity? I mean, do you think why the international community didn't give more attention to the Tigray crisis when they watch us dying of hunger for the last 5 years totally, and they didn't push the Pretoria agreement to be implemented fully? Why I'm saying here this, why I'm calling the international community to stretch its hands to the Tigray, is that because they know that the African politicians, they play political, personal power at the expense of humanity. So what is, how do you evaluate this thing? And as you are part of the international committee and you know for a long time with the experience, why the international committee forget the Tigray crisis? What do you think?
To be frank, your question is mainly a political issue. I am not a politician. I do look at the matter from the very humanitarian side. I know international communities via NGOs supposed to reach out to the needy no matter where. Knowing all the crises, USAID has suspended. We know the reason. Some of the reason is in fact the maltreatment, the follow-up of the aid supposed to be reached to the very needy has been somewhere evaporated. But that is no fault of the needy. Is nothing. The needy didn't play any part in this misdirection of the aids. Some individuals or some groups might have done that wrong thing, which is terrible, to steal from the mouth of babies and the moms and the people who are dying food donated. But that cannot be an excuse to totally suspend aid while people are dying, while people are in need of aid. That in our language as a faith leader is sin. Sin means in our language is to miss the target. So they are missing the target and only looking at right and the left side. No. The missing point are the needy, not the politicians. Unfortunately, the whole world is looking for its own benefit, especially the well-developed country. They plan for 10 or 20 years ahead, and they only treat developing country and their people simply as whether they are useful for their benefit or not. Okay, that is their right. But I hope the world will be aware and so love human beings and use materials. Now it seems it is tended using human beings and loving property. That is sin. That must be changed. So I feel and sense that even human suffering has been used as means of politics. That is again for me is sin. Political gambling shouldn't be done that way. Suffering is enough. We had more than enough suffering, if there is any good in suffering. So please look at political issues separate from the humanitarian issue. What now we need is humanitarian support for the needy. Politicians has to play their role and has to be dealt with by other politicians, nation-wise or region-wise. But these suffering people cannot wait for that. They are dying daily. They are suffering daily. Why? I don't believe in political situation in this kind of crisis. Humanitarian support has to come first. Politics cannot play a card on the dead body. Our people are dying. That's what I'm saying. If there hasn't been any political issues, AU or United Nations wouldn't have gave deaf ear for this situation. Yes, there will be certainly political issue, but we are asking a bit to get out of the political cycle and the circle and see the humanity, the reality as it is. And there the solution has to come. Our IDPs and the refugees have been in this tent away from home over 5 years now. No solution by politicians. At least we are calling on the world, let these people keep alive, survive, so that they may wait when we don't know for the day to go back to their land, to their home. Too much suffering they have been bearing. So put your feet in their shoes. Feel the situation they are in yourselves. If you don't feel anything, then probably humanity may not concern you. The same I am saying to our local politicians. The interim government, which is under national government, they have to work together. They are parcel and part of each other. That is very clearly put in the Pretorian Agreement. And we are dying to see reconstruction, rehabilitation, and redevelopment. Everything has been destroyed. Everything has been looted. We couldn't see that. Unless we survive, we can't see that. That is development. What we are crying for, what we are looking for is daily survival strategy. Unfortunately, stretching our hands. Our dependency syndrome is there. But I'm afraid the donor's fatigue has been already there. So till we can able to support ourselves. Do please help us. Help us to help ourselves. That is the clear cry. Help us to help ourselves. We feel now helpless and hopeless. If we lose hope in God and in the international humanity, that will be the end. Living dead, we will call ourselves. We will not wait till we become dead corpus. We are living corpus. So that's how I see it, unfortunately.
I think we are talking about the lives or the fate of about 8 to 6 million people in Tigray. Half of them are living in the areas where IDPs are living without access to humanitarian aid. And now, I want you to convey your message to the international community to stretch its hands to Tigray crisis, because we have complete crisis, this security crisis, political crisis, this moral crisis, humanitarian crisis. So totally Tigray is at risk, and the international community would be informed of this 8 million lives went dead. So before too late, as you said, I think particularly the religious institutions, the Vatican Church, the Orthodox Church, and the Islamic Relief Organization, if you have a message particularly for them and to the international community, the USAID and UN.
I am calling on all human beings who can help, no matter how little. There is no little help, there is no little pregnancy. Little pregnancy, it comes to 9 months and the baby delivers. Crisis, help is the same. If you survive for a day, then somebody helps to survive tomorrow. There is no double days. It's only today. When we come to tomorrow, tomorrow is another day. Yesterday has gone, will not come back. Well, that's what I am saying. As a Catholic priest, I know that the Catholic Church has been internationally doing its best, because, for example, some of the NGOs say, CRS, means Catholic Social Service. USA, there is part of the Catholic faithful in USA who supported to it. There are CST, Kafodiskiya Troker, UK, Scotland, Ireland, the church behind it. The support is from Catholics as well as non-Catholics. There are other Belgium, different. So it is somehow, the money is from the faithful, no matter where, in Europe or in America or Canada. Some directly comes through the government of the world, from every country. But mostly is somehow backed by the faithful. So, whoever can help, no matter how little, has to contribute their best. The Muslim relief could do their own way. They have so many Muslim rich people and the rich countries behind. The same with the Orthodox, started from Russian Orthodox Church down to Romania, down to the Greek, down to the Middle East, wherever. The same with Protestant brothers and sisters. Let us do what we can do locally as well as internationally. Because till we wait international support. If we have something for today, let us share it. Let us leave tomorrow in the hands of God. Instead of keeping for tomorrow, why don't we keep alive these people who might die today? So everybody can do something, no matter how little. No matter how little. So my appeal is to all humanity, politicians as well as merchants, money makers, as well as even students who have no job, just to share from their little gift from their parents. That's what I am calling on. A child can help another needy child, sharing a bread, daily bread, with him or with her. That is also, especially locally, we have to learn sharing, because that is deep in our culture. Sharing. We don't eat alone. We don't keep for tomorrow while our brother and sister is dying today. We don't know tomorrow whether it is going to be for us. We don't know. We only know that now we are here, breathing. Is it tomorrow ours? We will say it when we reach it tomorrow. So let us help our needy. To help others is enough to be a human being. International communities as well as WCC, World Faith Organizations, World Christian Organizations, everywhere. Even from within the country, we know we used to help each other, even recently. The merchants, the elderly, and the Abba Gada, they brought 7 lorries here. They distributed to the very needy in IDP. That itself is great. Great. Even from the southern region, now they support those people who are suffering due to drought in lowland of Temple. Sharing of the neighborhood. They didn't give them from their excessive property. No, they shared from what they have. It is a rainy season. They don't know whether tomorrow will be better. They don't know whether they will have enough crop for next year, which starts in September in Ethiopian calendar. Yet they share it. That is what we call it humanity. That we call it charity. And in fact, charity must start on the faith-based institutions. So my appeal is also to those faith-based institutions.
Thank you very much, Abba Tuem, for sharing your wisdom and your golden words to appeal the international community to stretch its hands, its generosity and kindness, human kindness, I mean, to be informed about the Tigray humanitarian crisis, and moreover that there is a hunger outbreak, maybe the experts may call it famine or starvation, but it is something adding to the wound, to the IDP. So Tigray will not manage it to outlive facing this double standard problems. So I brought Abba Tuem to share his wisdom and his rich experiences and influence to appeal the international community so that the Tigrigna or Ethiopian diasporas should be organized again to be a voice of this voiceless who are suffering of food shortage at home in Tigray. Thank you very much. Long live to you. We wish you. Thank you very much, Abba Tuem.
Thank you, Zeray Media, to letting me to appeal to the world to share the suffering of our people. I wish you a good day. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.